Hello everyone, Poto-chan desu. Today we're going to be talking about Godzilla -1. This was my first time to see a non-Hollywood version of the franchise, so I was a little disappointed with the special effects. The story arc of this movie is pretty cool. It deals with the real emotions of life after World War II and what it's like to rebuild your life after coming home from a war, especially after you joined to become a kamikaze pilot and failed in your mission. The Showa-era attitude of laying down your life for your country being the greatest honor really showed, and the idea that you bring back the war with you when you come home was another strong point. Our protagonist had to deal with the after effects of the first Godzilla disaster, but he had to deal with the shame of not completing his mission and his internal struggle with nightmares associated with PTSD. This is the theme of the movie, the internal war we fight with ourselves. Most of the older Godzilla movies focus more on the rampage of Godzilla, and the character stories are a little bit weak. Shin Godzilla has more character focus, but on the whole, the Godzilla movie is about the monster and the destruction it causes. So I now understand that the Godzilla movies are supposed to be about the monster-smashing disaster. This is where Godzilla -1 is different. Godzilla's rampage is reduced, and character development becomes the main focus. I like both kind of movies, so it's important for me to manage my expectations before watching a movie. In the trailers, you don't get much of a sense of the story, other than that this is a disaster movie. So now I'm going to talk about the movie in depth. This is the time when you need to look away if you don't want to have the movie spoiled. Okay? Let's begin. The story follows pilot Shikishima, who was recruited to be a kamikaze pilot, but failed in his mission. He lies about his plane being faulty, and mechanic Tachibana figures out the lie. In the evening, an underdeveloped Godzilla attacks the island, and Shikishima is pressured to shoot Godzilla with his grounded plane's weapons. Shikishima freezes in fear, and most of the island's soldiers are killed by a rampaging Godzilla. Shikishima and Tachibana survive, and Shikishima's journey through shame, PTSD, and redemption begins. When Shikishima returns home, he finds his whole family gone. His neighbor Sumiko is upset that he did not fulfill his duties, and he gets an instant family, baby Akiko and de facto mother-wife Noriko. From here we journey with Shikishima as he tries to make a life for himself, struggles with his failures as a Showa kamikaze pilot, and deals with the internal conflict of post-Godzilla stress disorder. That could be a new word for the Godzilla franchise, PGST, post-Godzilla stress disorder, or PGST, copyrighted by me. Shikishima's character was awesome. He had this repressed emotional rage and shame about failing his duties, which was the driving force for his behavior. While dealing with the aftermath of Godzilla, Shikishima gets himself a job with a boat crew and makes a new group of friends. Ex-military scientist Noda is a very calm person. Captain Akitsu is your typical ex-soldier tough guy. Seaman Mizushima is a young soldier wannabe with a drive to protect his country and longs for the glory of battle. Godzilla returns when the crew are out destroying mines in the ocean. This second appearance of Godzilla is a more mature version. Bigger and stronger, he takes out American Navy vessels with ease. The difference here with this Godzilla is that he has individualized focus. What I mean is, he looks at the individual rather than just smashing anything and everything. His eyes look right at you, and you get the feeling that he's coming for you, like he's coming specifically for them. So with this version of Godzilla, you have real fear for the characters. In the Tokyo attack, Noriko is attacked while riding the train on her way home from work. She narrowly escapes Godzilla by falling into the river. As Godzilla smashes through Ginza, Shikishima finds Noriko and Godzilla decides to go nuclear. Noriko saves Shikishima and gets blown away in the process, and I will talk about this a little later. I really liked the way Shikishima dragged the poor mechanic Tachibana back into the story. It was really smart of him to badmouth Tachibana to as many people as possible that he was the main reason for the disaster on the island. Tachibana was probably somewhere peacefully rebuilding his life when he gets an earful of insults. It is not explained in the movie, but I think Shikishima wanted to prove to Tachibana that he could fulfill his duties and redeem himself in Tachibana's eyes. So that is why Tachibana came, to repair the plane that was going to be used in the fight against Godzilla. After the heroic destruction of Godzilla, Shikishima learns that Noriko had survived Godzilla's atomic blast. We find her, picture perfect, in a hospital with a broken arm and a bandaged right eye. There are no scratches on her whatsoever. I don't know if you noticed, but there was a black stain on her neck that moved. I have had some time to think about this, and I could be wrong, but I have a theory about why Noriko was so undamaged. Godzilla is basically always radioactive. When Noriko was in the train that Godzilla attacked, she had close contact exposure to Godzilla. This may have caused some of Godzilla's healing factor to be transferred to Noriko. This is why the train scene is so important and why Noriko survived the fall into the river. I think she was too high to survive the fall and should have died after crashing into the water or hitting the bottom of the river. So if she had the healing factor, she would have been able to survive the atomic blast and been able to regenerate. I think her arm injury and her right face had been healed, just the doctors didn't know it yet. So I enjoyed this movie a lot. One question I have for the fans of Godzilla is, what are Godzilla's motives? Most of the movie was focused on human relationships, so we don't really know why Godzilla went inland for the second attack and why Godzilla attacked Tokyo in the first place. Leave a comment below if you have any theories. And thank you for watching. See you!